following programming contains adult themes and is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, I'm Jessi Whitten, your host of Sounds on 29th from PBS 12, where we explore the work of artists who make Colorado a vibrant and creative place to live, and have been doing that for more than 10 years. This is part 2 of our anniversary special, looking back at seasons gone by, and joining me again this week is Director of Production at PBS 12, Heather Dalton, who's been here from the start. Thanks for joining me again.
Of course, Jessi. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I mean, today we're going to be picking up at about midway through this 10-year run at PBS 12 for Sounds on 29th. Tell me about the music scene in Denver at this time. This was like 5 years ago.
The music scene at that point, being that I don't want to discuss how old I really am, but I came out of the music scene a very long time ago. And it felt like this freshman class was coming to eminence and prominence, and just, I felt like if Denver had a musical baby, all of its incredible progeny was coming out at this time. And it was just explosive. And I was getting introduced to all of these new incredible artists, and I felt so great to be at the heart of this show.
So we're going to get into a bunch of clips and get a full feeling of season 5 and 6. But we're going to start with a familiar face, Bianca McCaughan, who is also on season 4 and also featured on this season, season 10, working with Maule. Do you remember anything about this 2017 performance?
I have been a huge fan of Bianca's, particularly for her community work. I had met her initially with Arts from Ashes, and she was working a spoken word workshop at that point, and I'd always been a fan. So that performance for me was so deep in my heart that we had finally gotten her here, and then to see her come back again and again, and hopefully Bianca will have you on again and again and again. It's just so exciting.
Here's Bianca McCaughan with Weirdo, one of her many performances on Sounds on 29th.
Weirdo, yeah, oh, weirdo, say, oh, weirdo, oh, weirdo. They can't talk as loud as the voices in your head, and they can't wake you up cause you dream outside of bed. Oh, weirdo, oh, hey. And I'll never ever be like them. You see my crooked smile, looking wild with my lion's mane, dirty book of file, pile on the judgment. Push, but I ain't budging, steady standing on the edge, doing pirouettes. I'm lunching, laughing at nothing, happy frontin'. Ask me something, punch drunk punks or slap happy online thuggin'. I'm missing something. It must be that screw loose, and it opened up my view, dude. I ain't got much to truly lose. Oh, weirdo, don't go the way of the normal, no. Cause there's no such thing as normal, no. Cause they just want to.
Oh, that's a Moxie Eatery shirt.
Cause there's no such thing as normal, no.
I was trying to figure it out earlier because I was like, what?
You let it go on for far too long. Now it's nobody's and it's everyone's. How can I change the world for the better? I can't even keep it together at home. At home. So you build a wall, a monument.
Those moments must have been so special. And the way that you guys curate the show, it must happen for every single person on the crew at some point.
Yeah.
It's like, this is my band. Oh, you don't know them? And then just having a discovery moment at work.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm shady, and every door is closed. When I'm shady, and watch me fiddle with the locks
So Michelle Rocket is doing these have you seen her TikToks? She's a TikTok phenomenon. Her whole thing is she does 90s songs as if they were musicals. And it's just amazing. She's just so talented in the first place, but then she's like putting that creativity in this kind of funny space, and people are responding to it. It's really fun to see.
Else would I be walking back?
We got you, guacha, algo para la raza. Cantándolo a mi pueblo, no me pierdo, ¿qué te pasa? We make noise, with the will embrace lo que soy. A raised voice, can I change the pace? Yo estoy hablando de este juego del país y del gobierno. Empezamos de raíz, la amnistía es el correcto. ¿A poco no con corazón, control y yo micrófono? Supposed to grow and show the folks that ningo that we speaking, yo.
One of the DJs had survived a bout with cancer, right? And it just, they had such great energy when they came in.
Dreams, scheme, succeed, we teach and believe because it is the piece that we need. Go back, never make a dope track, better reunidos con la gente.
Oh yeah, member.
Si se puede,
Vamos a editar que
si se puede,
¿cómo se les hace?
si se puede, si se puede, si se puede,
Todos adelante.
si se puede,
Vamos a editar que
si se puede,
¿cómo se les hace?
si se puede, si se puede, si se puede.
And yes, we can keep moving forward.
Is it dance, dance, dance? Is it dance, dance, dance?
Local legends, of course. DBUK out of Slim Cessna's Auto Club, and Munley, Lee Lewis Harlots. I mean, the list goes on, right? Denver Gentlemen.
Dance, dance, dance. Is it dance, dance, dance? I got to. Is it dance, dance, dance? Is it dance, dance, dance? Is it dance, dance, dance? I got to.
Yes, it'll pick you up. Just let it pick you up anyway. So unusual.
And as a kid of the 90s, you know, we were all into ska, let's admit it.
Oh yeah.
And Judge Roughneck
I've done some
were
skanking.
also local legends who I was just
Yeah.
overwhelmed that they were wanting to come into studio.
Truly. I mean, that's what stands out about this season is like the legacy on screen.
Let's rock, 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 let's rock.
You love me, seven, let the fellow say, you're okay. But that's just a thing for me. Just a little bit, leave me. Why you walking away from me? Yeah. Simplicity, eluding me.
Tammy Elam of Dressy Bessie.
Unmatched style, unmatched kindness. They're an
And
incredible
support,
band.
mentorship.
Yeah.
She's given a lot to this music scene.
Absolutely.
And we should be incredibly thankful.
Also, the cutest, sweetest dog that's ever existed. Yeah,
yes.
it needs a shout out.
Daisy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not a big gorilla. I 1, 2, 3, but that's not a big gorilla. I 1, 2, 3, but.
What strikes me about this season, these seasons together, it's such an amazing display of Colorado legacy and new music discovery coming together in the same space. So was that intentional with the curation, is making sure that you're paying like respect to the classics of the Colorado scene, and then, oh, next week we're going to have a brand new band that people are maybe discovering for the first time?
Absolutely. I think it's important for us to acknowledge our history, as in all things. And as you have been a great guardian of Colorado music history, they're building blocks. You know, they have created the culture that we have now, and it's always nice to see the newer acts carrying the torch. And it is important to us too to honor where we've come from, but also keep an eye on where we're going.
We saw a lot of bands that have been together for decades in that last segment, but one band that is no longer together is the Corner Girls, who came on the show in 2018. though some of the members can now be found in the band waiting room. They'll start our look back at the 7th season of Sounds on 29th.
When we were curating this season, I came across Balloonium's cache of amazingly brilliant music videos. And I reached out to Richard, and at that point, he said that they didn't really perform live that much. But we talked them into it, and it's been a beautiful union ever since.
Whatever happened to Vicky Lawson? Whatever happened to my girl's shoes? Whatever happened to that guy from Blue's Clues? Whatever happened to the way it used to be? Whatever happened to Happy Go Lucky? Porque toca bien chingona, Trump, abajo, abajo, arriba con la familia, arriba, arriba, abajo el capitalismo, abajo, abajo, arriba los zapatistas, arriba, arriba, que viva revolución, que viva revolución, que viva toda mi gente y que viva nuestra canción, que viva revolución, que viva revolución, que viva los mocochetes porque toca bien chingona.
Heavy hitters, heads no spinning. You stop winning, I'm a pro. She's a pro, knock on your door. You don't expect the surprise of doing so bold. Had to rethink on your life. Everything you have created will end in the skies. Well, all I can say is there ain't that cut up a face. And 5 fingers work with a face. But with machete, what more do I say? Slide, slide, slide. Slide, slide, slide. Slide, slide, slide. Slide, slide, slide. What's up? Slide. Slide, 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 slide. Yeah, cut 'em off, 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 cut 'em off. There is nothing that is gonna make me love you less. So
into season 8, the last pre-pandemic season of the show, before we moved into this world of watching music videos instead of having these live performances. So set that scene. What was that vibe like going into this last season? Of course, you didn't know it was the last season of live performances, but...
Yeah, we had no idea what was coming. I will have to say that due to the great creativity of our community and how many incredible music videos there were out there, we were able to pivot. But it was a great season, and we felt like, we're doing good. And then as the whole world would find out, entertainment and music entertainment would be more valuable than ever.
So we didn't know how good we had it at the time, but we're going to check out season 8, starting with Brianna Strout.
I never said that this would be easy. In fact, I did my very best to mess it up from the start. Yeah, my bags were packed. And oh boy, I was ready, waiting for another rainy day to start. Yeah, steady, steady as she goes. Steady, steady as she goes. Yeah, I'm a fool. Yeah, I'm a fool. I'm a fool. But I don't mind it.
Now, I want to criticize. Now, I want to talk like it's alright. Now, I don't want to realize. Wake up from a dream like it's alright. No, darling, darling, I'm stressed out. Darling, darling, I'm stressed out. Easy, it's one now on my door. In case you don't want me no more, I'm a sucker for sure. Well, I'm a sucker for your loving for sure.
Heart behind bars, 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 behind. Oh, 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 that
Now, this was a very special episode. Theophobia actually came out from New York. I think that they were introduced to Sounds on 29th through Bolognium. And Dylan is a very acclaimed independent filmmaker and overall cultural disruptor in New York, and fell in love with our little Colorado show and said, hey, can we come out and be on your show? This one, I never, ever, ever thought we would have the opportunity to have living, breathing legends who have been such a force in music, John McEuen and friends. This is probably as close as I will ever get to the Carter Cash family legacy.
Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From those Blue Ridge hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on the mountain, far away in my Blue Ridge mountain home. When I die, won't you bury me on the mountain, far away
Amacandra, Season 8 of Sounds on 29th, the last season of live in-person performances before the pandemic hit. It's been so fun showing the awesome music videos of local talent these last couple of years. I've enjoyed it as a host, but of course, it's amazing to see the legacy of live music that Sounds on 29th was based off of. What was that like, just really reliving the live music aspect of it after these 2 years of doing something completely different?
Soul fulfilling. It reminds me of why we're here and why we love what we do. And no matter what is hurled at us, we will pivot and be okay. And music and art is always good for the soul, and we are happy to be a part of the healing for the last 2 years and hoping to return live next season.
So tell me about that pivot, because that's a big moment when you realize you can't have live music. Live music has shifted so much in the last couple of years. Going to music videos, of course, you talked about Teletoons being one of the first VJ shows that ever existed. We kind of went back to that. Was that kind of an inspiration for how to survive during the pandemic?
Oh, absolutely. It was a natural evolution because in a weird way, Sounds on 29th was an homage to Teletoons, but we realized that there was so much great talent here that we didn't want to focus on national videos and just kind of highlight what was going on here. So when the pandemic hit, it was like, we were born for this. It was kind of like, okay, we will survive. And there was such a great cache of incredibly produced local music videos, which weren't around in the 80s and 90s. Because you and I have seen some of those. They're like somebody's camcorder, and you're like, okay, I guess we'll put it on the air.
Scrappy.
Yes.
That's how I describe them.
Yes, there we go. Very scrappy. So there was a great selection to choose from. And in a way, it was soothing for us as a team, too, because that meant we will all get through this.
We've just spent the last couple episodes going through 10 years of work. So as you look back at that, what does it make you think for the future? What do you hope for the future of Sounds on 29th?
I hope that Sounds On continues for a very long time. However, things change, scenes change, everything changes. I do hope that people will be able to look at the legacy and look back on it with great fondness like they did with Teletoons.
Well, happy 10 years of Sounds on 29th. I am so proud of the work that you've done here and that I get to be a part of it at all. So thank you for sharing your stories with us, Heather Dalton.
And thank you so much, Jessi Whitten, for being here. We, as mentioned before, are so incredibly honored and grateful to have you as a part of the team and leading us into that great future.
Yes, there will be a future. We will get back to live music one day. It'll happen. Things are going to happen. In the meantime, we've got something good going here and a great history to spend time digging into. So that is a wrap on my first season of hosting Sounds on 29th, and it's been an honor to be a part of such a storied and illustrious series. So thank you to Heather, our producer Richard, to Elle, Stephen, Julius, everyone who made it possible, and of course to the musicians who make Sounds on 29th possible as well. This episode has proved there's so much history to dig into with Sounds on 29th. So while this season is over, you can find our episode archives and 10 years of music discovery splendor at pbs12.org.